how does growth work? Personal growth. Well, we're going to use a metaphor. As everything in life, life is but a metaphor. Well, not life. Everything around us is a metaphor. Life is real, not a metaphor. Everything around us is a metaphor for something godly that we can learn from. So let's taking a seed of grain or a kernel of fruit, and we put it into the ground to make something grow. What happens? It's not the seed that grows, right? It's not that kernel that grows, because what happens to it? It decays. It decays, and it becomes part of the vegetative property of the soil. It becomes then the vegetative power within the soil, part of that. And it's the soil, Mother Earth, that makes things grow. Right. So what do you have? This seed that now becomes decayed, becomes nothing, spent. If you will, the metaphor, if you want to understand the idea of creating something from nothing, would be that seed. It becomes nothing. And now something can grow. So what is that? What's happening? It's revealing the power of Mother Earth, the vegetative power within Earth, to take it from its potential state and bring it to actualization. And all the seed or the kernel does is, by being decayed, becomes consumed in the soil, and then releasing the vegetative property of the soil. And really what that seed does is become one with the soil. Right? And what happens as a result of that is that the vegetative property of the soil is actualized from its potential and now grows into something that is incomparably greater than what it was originally. From one seed, one kernel, you have a fruit-bearing tree now that has many fruit, for example. Right? Many fruit, incomparably more than the one kernel that was seed that produced it. So, and quantitatively, it's much more, and qualitative, great difference. You have now a shiny, beautiful apple, a pear, a peach, whatever it is, that is pleasant to the eyes, tasty to the palate, something that didn't exist with the grain, right? So what was the whole point of the kernel? Was just to arouse the power of vegetation to allow it to make something grow. Because everything in creation has to come from below to elicit the power beyond it. That's the way God created the world. Not the first 6 days, God did it on his own, but afterwards, he created us, the pinnacle of creation, that we elicit from on high something that's far and above and beyond us. This idea of the person below, or the quality that's below, elicits something much greater than itself from above, is the Arizal's concept of what's called the elevation of Mein Nukvim. Nukvim means feminine waters. The recipient, the feminine waters below, elicit the male efflux from above, right? That brings down an efflux of energy, of light, of divinity from above. That's the idea. That's the metaphor. How that plays out in tomorrow's class we'll have more, but let's take this apart for a moment and appreciate this. So where does growth take place? Not when you are full of yourself, but when you can take that part of you, that seed, that kernel, and put it into something greater than you. And that part of you, you actually lose yourself. It decays. In other words, what does it mean to lose yourself? You don't see yourself as this wonderful individual with great qualities. That doesn't mean you don't have them. That's not the point. Doesn't mean you don't have qualities, because we need to recognize our qualities, of course. We need to recognize our good qualities and our not so good qualities. Absolutely. But now we're talking about growth. Where will growth take place? Not in the recognition of my qualities, right? Which, by the way, may make myself a little full of myself because, I'm a real good teacher. I'm a real good artist. I'm this, I'm that, right? That's what happens in the metaphor. That kernel decays. It decays to lose itself to become a part of something greater than itself. It doesn't decay till you're rotten, right? That's not the point to suggest that anybody is rotten, but let yourself rot. So now you'll be enveloped by something greater than you, to something godly, right? That's what happens to seed. It decomposes, it becomes part of the earth, the vegetative property of earth, that it now arouses in it its power to make something grow that will be incomparable to the seed that was put in, both qualitatively and quantitatively. Qualitatively, you're going to get a fruit that's growing from a seed that was tasteless. Now you're going to get a tasty fruit that gives life, gives vitality. You're going to get many fruits from one seed, one kernel. Wow, that's amazing. But the key to it is not to focus on how wonderful and how powerful I am. If that seed wouldn't decay, nothing would grow. To put this maybe in other terms, things sometimes come to us that are bringing challenges, difficulties. Seems to be decaying, a decayed situation. Ultimately, that decayed situation, if we recognize it, is only that an allowance for something to grow that would be so much more beautiful than if it wasn't there. But that takes a lot of awareness and a lot of work to allow yourself to have that bittul, to have that self-effacement, to allow yourself to be spent and to become part of something much more powerful than you. Much more powerful. Your source in the divine. And being part of that will give you so much more growth, so much more beauty. A beautiful fruit tree. It's pleasant to the eyes. People will see what a pleasant person. What a geschmacke. Geschmack means, or geschmack means tasty. A tasty person. Geschmack, a person means just, they just like, the geschmack. No good English for that. And that's what we are capable of. That's the kind of growth. It takes that self-effacement to be able to get there. Okay, how that translates into tzedakah and the presence of God, we'll get that tomorrow. Any questions, any comments? I had a wonderful TRC last night. Also a wonderful Torah studies. Whoever did not get a chance to participate in the Torah studies, every Sunday at 6:30. Strongly urge you to do that every Sunday. And if you can't, then go to Tanya Rabbi rather, TanyaRabbi.com, or on my YouTube station, also Tanya Rabbi, and you can listen to the story of how not to be anxious. All right, but we have any questions here? Yeah. We have Elise here in Maryland. We have with us Karen in Springfield, Ohio. I missed a couple of people. Or Rivka in Florida. Cindy in Florida. Clem in Brisbane. Any questions? Okay. Please share with us.
Good morning, Rabbi.
Good morning.
Can I ask you my question now?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead. Please do.
So, what is Mashiach? We want Mashiach now, and we don't have to wait. What does that mean? And what does the Tanya tell us about that statement? I suppose that famous Chabad statement.
Okay, good question. We want Mashiach now, and we don't want to wait. So Mashiach, well, to put in the context that we're speaking about over here, this ultimate growth that we're speaking about here, that we are a divine soul, and we are rooted into such a powerful divine source. What happens is we cheat ourselves, and we think we're small people. We cheat ourselves. We think we're small, so we have a small vision, and don't expect much from us, and we're just happy, pain-free day. But we are extremely powerful. That's the idea of the seed that becomes part of the vegetative property of Mother Earth. But when we recognize how that power is, the problem is we live in an environment of exile that doesn't allow this idea to be the normative state of being. The normative state of being is, I'm small, I'm not so significant, and on top of that, I'm even broken. The truth is, we're whole, we're complete, and we're worthy. Not because we did something, because we are something. That notion that we are a reflection of the divine, a piece of the divine in us, and that's our true, authentic reality, that's what Mashiach is, that we will live that clearly and openly. That's what Mashiach will bring to us. So we don't want to wait for that. Who wants to wait for that? We want that. That is the ultimate purpose of creation, is that the authentic divine self should be actualized, and that the true reality of everything in this world, I mentioned before that everything is a metaphor for the divine. Well, the materiality, we get lost. That we have a desire for money, we have a desire for pleasure as an end in itself. We have desire for just to fill me up with just very limited self-directed things, when we could have something that we are like the seed decays and becomes part of the vegetative property, that now a fruit-bearing tree grows, something infinitely greater than what was put in. Well, that's what Mashiach brings to us. And therefore that's something we don't want to wait. So this is something that Rebbe introduced from the children who were singing the melody and said, "Oh, this really exemplifies what Hasidic teachings is speaking about, and this is what we want to create." So thank you for that question, because it ties in perfectly. I hope that helped.
Yes, thank you, Rabbi. Rabbono Shalom.
Amen. Jane, to recognize something that is decaying and to allow that something to be part of the divine, that also is Emunah. Yes, that's Emunah. Right, exactly. Cherries from Israel. Growth versus decaying. Well, it's through that decaying. Decaying sounds very negative, but it's not negative. It's that you're letting the self, the self, become part of something greater. That I'm not limited to the self-directed needs that I have, but I'm part of divine power. And that when I lose myself there, then I become revealing the true me, the authentic me. How does one recognize the significance and grow from the decay? That's something we'll deal more in TRC. That's a TRC, Tanya Rabbi, Tanya Rabbi community place to deal with that. Excellent question. But Cherries, we're going to deal with that if you want. Reach out. So Brett, if we consider the metaphor further, that women are Mother Earth and men are planting seeds, what does that imply, if that's correct? So, so we said the feminine waters, right? Feminine waters is the recipient. So Mother Earth is the recipient. The seed is, and you have that also with, the birth of a child, right? The father gives the seed, and through planting it in the mother, who now through 9 months of gestation makes it to grow into something so beautiful, a beautiful child that's born. Yeah, so there's definitely that metaphor, and that's the feminine quality, is the one of eliciting from a greater place. That's feminine quality, yes. We've spoken many times about that concept. But okay, we have on Instagram some questions. Bella, the metaphor with the seed being planted in regard to the experience challenges, does this apply to every person giving through a challenge, or only applies to specific challenges? Great, Tzivia. Great question. It would apply to everything. Anything that you feel that is decaying, that is diminishing you, don't look at it that way. That was part of last night's class, by the way. Again, a reminder, go to tanyarabbi.com or to Facebook. I mean to YouTube, Tanya Rabbi, and dealing about how to not be anxious, right? Is decay related to brokenness? So there's decay that is a bad thing and decay that's a good thing. When you recognize that I have to lose myself into something greater than myself in the divine, so that's a good thing. Decay that's a negative thing is that when we see the decay as an end in itself. And then we'll realize that the whole purpose of the decay is that seed should now become part of Mother Earth, right? That's the problem. When we don't see that, when we don't, in the moment we don't experience it, but that's what's happening. Does it follow the metaphor? Yeah, on some level it does, yeah. Right. Davida, I have strong emunah and bitachon, but I find it hard not to be self-effacing. I find it hard not to be self-effacing. Tend to be hard on myself. How do I get off that slippery slope? I said, my dear wife is just here, and that's a great question. That's also TRC. We're going to deal with it there. That's very good. Excellent. But Samuel, if a newborn person not fully converted into Judaism can follow Shabbat candles in the Havdalah ceremony of Saturday, yes. I mean, you have to speak to your rabbi. If you're converting, that means you need a rabbi where you live. So I don't know where you live. Wherever you live, Samuel, you need to find yourself a rabbi. If you have a Chabad rabbi, he's even better. Simcha, decay, relate to brokenness. So yes, it can be related to brokenness if we just see it as brokenness. The whole point is that we should see it as part of something greater. That's the whole point. I hope that was clear. All right, amazing. All of you. I hope I didn't miss anybody. And yes, we will continue. Tomorrow we continue our conversation. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad, Zich and Kadeshim. Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Rambam is coming up. A reminder that we're on a 2-day campaign. Whoever would like to participate, go to ChabadZichring.com, and we're doing a campaign for those who can help out on a monthly basis. Whatever you can help with, that is amazing. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day.